We welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Thursday, January 6th. I'm Gary Stevens. First Thursday of the month, we catch up with what is going on in law enforcement south of 32nd Street. It's Allegan County, and with the leading lawman in the county on the other side of our Zoom connection from the Allegan County Sheriff's Department headquarters in Allegan is Frank Baker. Sheriff Baker, good morning and welcome back and Happy New Year, sir.
Good morning, Gary, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, and hopefully it will be a good one, a safe one. But as, let's put it this way, use this as a backdrop. According to the Michigan Department of Transportation in an email we got about 20 minutes ago, northbound US 131 at M89 Allegan Street, that's exit 49B. Freeway closed due to a crash. We're in the middle of a winter storm warning for Allegan County until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yeah, winter is here. After a couple of mild winters, we're getting the old 1-2 to the solar plexus.
Yeah, it's just one of those things we kind of anticipated would happen. You never want it to happen, but you know it's coming. And, fortunately, I think, maybe having that mild December allowed people to kind of get used to the driving in the inclement weather when we had a few light snows and a few slippery conditions. But overall, I guess I can't really complain. I mean, it was a pretty significant winter event, yet for the most part, I witnessed people driving pretty responsibly. But given with the conditions, there's going to be accidents. We know that. And I think as a result of it, I know I did a quick look at the numbers, and I think since the winter storm kind of began, it looks like we're up around, at least as of about 7:30 this morning, about over 40 incidents that we had to respond to with crashes. Most of them were just property damage, just a few that resulted in injury. But for the most part, like I say, could have been probably a lot worse.
I'm going to harken back to the time when you were in the prowl car. Of course, many who listen to this know that my dad was a police officer for 26 years in the city of Detroit, 18 of which were in the prowl car in the 60s and early 70s, those big Ford LTDs. But you take a look at what the department now has, which is for the most part SUVs. Sometimes Ford, other makers are in that as well. Do you get a sense that, we had to do a lot with a limited amount of space then, and that you have more in the SUVs now that can help motorists in a snow situation than you did during those old sedan prowl car days?
For sure, Gary. And one of the big things, though, is having been one of those people that drove a two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive sedan during these winter storms, quite often we were the ones needing the records ourselves. And I can recall a time being stuck on the shoulder of the road. I wasn't even off the road. I was stuck on the shoulder of the road after I had taken a crash. It was a challenge. And you got to be real good friends with the record drivers because hopefully they did you a favor and a solid and pulled you out of the ditch so you didn't have to report it to your boss. But yeah, it was a challenge during those times. You had a limited amount of flares and stuff that were available. But with the improvements that we've seen over the last years, for our department, we're driving the Ford Explorer all-wheel drive. We feel much safer getting to those crashes. We feel much safer being able to respond and being out on the road. And it's dangerous. I mean, usually every winter, unfortunately, we lose a patrol car or two during the winter storms to being struck while they're out policing a crash or assisting someone who may be injured at a crash. So it's dangerous out there on the freeways, but all in all, we are safer now than what we used to be.
And unfortunately, when it comes time to make your report to the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners asking for allocations, we got to replace a couple of vehicles, one because of age maybe, and another because it got cracked up. You don't want to have to, you're going to have to replace vehicles anyway because of age and technology, but, you want to do it on your terms and not on the weather terms.
For sure, because like you say, it's a process. It's part of the budget process, so it's something that takes place every year. We monitor the mileage on the cars and the condition, and the county has someone that runs the fleet, and we know when a certain vehicle has reached a certain number of miles, it's due to be replaced. But the problem comes in is when you have these crashes and you need a replacement vehicle right now, and it wasn't budgeted for. And so you're waiting on the insurance company to hopefully come through for you. And in the delay now, of course, with trying to get vehicles, it's nearly impossible with the chip shortage and the things that are going on in the supply chain. So, yeah, we're very cautious and hopeful that we, knock on wood, don't end up in that situation where we get shy of a vehicle or two because of a crash.
Let's talk a little bit about that vehicle shortage right now. Obviously, law enforcement agencies, Sheriff Frank Baker, are not immune to what us in the general public has, and deputies and the sheriff has to worry about in civilian life. It's kind of tough to get things. How much of a delay, if you can sort of quantify it, has it been from dealing with companies who do make special vehicles for law enforcement? What are they telling you is instead of A time frame, it's now B time frame? What is that B time frame now?
Yeah, really, we're not getting a time frame. It's going to be when it's available, it's available. And like I said, I don't deal necessarily on a day-to-day basis with the fleet. I just kind of hear the reports back that, it's delayed. It's delayed. One of the concerns I have and one of the hopes that I have is typically with the police pursuit rated vehicles, they run a line of those at certain times of the year. So I'm hoping that will still occur as normal and will, it's unfortunate for other people waiting. I know, I got family members waiting for vehicles, and they're patiently waiting, or I should say impatiently waiting. But yeah, we're hoping that they'll just run a line of patrol vehicles, when that time comes, and that they'll have enough of whatever supplies they're short of in stock to make that happen. Because when your first responders are unable to respond because of a vehicle shortage, that's going to be a concern not just for us but for everyone in the nation.
Now, Frank, I want to bring this point up with you, and I'm going to quote from what your email saying that we are doing the Zoom connection today. Avoid driving up M40. And you were laughing out loud. But I want to bring up a point, and I think we discussed this a few years ago, about some of the more dangerous stretches of highway in Allegan County when we get to a snow condition. And one who had ever been here for a period of time remembers a few years ago, and I want to say 2013 or 2014, when we had some bad snow conditions and M40 between Hamilton and Holland was basically impassable. I had to get to Battle Creek to do an MHSAA event. And, my thing was, I need, get me to M2, get me to County Road 37, get me to Allegan, and then I'm okay once I get there.
Yeah.
But that stretch of M40, in Fillmore and just north of Hamilton, that was pretty bad that day. That might be one of the toughest stretches in the winter of any stretch of road in Allegan County.
Yeah, any of the guys that work the road know those areas that you basically just head there when you start your shift because you're going to spend most of your night there or most of your afternoon there. That stretch north of Hamilton where it's very open, the wind blows right across. If it's wet, it freezes right away. And then when the drifting occurs, it just the way the geography of that area is and the landscape, it ends up drifting shut. And we know where those areas are. It's like you say, it's north of Hamilton on M40. It's over on 58th Street, north of 136. If you're over on the freeways, on 196, those areas, and over on 131, north of Door where the road curves and the wind blows across, it's going to be where the problems are occurring. And so it's unfortunate but it's just one of the things that's what nature handed us and dealt us for a hand in this. And we just know at least we know where to go. But yeah, it's always going to be a challenge in some of those areas.
And also to a certain extent challenges. And I don't want to use the Jan and Dean Dead Man's Curve, but there are a couple of curvy areas around New Richmond area, just north of Allegan as well. If you're not going slow enough, you're going to be running into those curves real fast.
Yeah, and like I say, with the way the wind blows across them, and they just ice over, they drift shut. and it just becomes a challenge. But I don't know if it's just maybe a snow belt that goes through there, because it's kind of the same, the same area within the county, just east to west. So, and then there's one I know down south towards the Plainwell Otsego area as well. So just for whatever reason, that seems to be the areas that we end up focusing a lot of our attention.
You've been focusing a lot of attention on trying to make sure that the sheriff's department and the Allegan County Jail are running smoothly. And that's become a challenge more often than not because of personnel. Sometimes you have to shelve deputies because of COVID positive tests, but more than anything else, just having the numbers. We talked with Ottawa County Sheriff Frank Kempker about this as well. Departments are losing deputies, and the battle to try to get new recruits in, you're vying with other departments to try to get this, from a very shallow talent pool right now.
Yeah, we're trying to be very creative in how we recruit, and looking at the possibilities of doing things we've never done in the past, like sponsoring people to go to the police academy. And where before we would get hundreds of applications, it's now we get a dozen. And so we're really struggling in corrections as well. And for us, one of the other challenges we're running into is, as the sheriff's office, we're responsible for running the jail. So not only are we trying to make sure that we have staffing in patrol and in corrections, but we have vendors who provide critical services to us that are struggling as well. A couple nights ago, I was on the text messages back and forth with our jail administrator when they found out that we wouldn't have a nurse reporting in the morning, and that our provider was short-staffed. And so then we have to start scampering in, at the 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, trying to make sure we have critical staff available. And the food service, we have a contract for food service within the facility, and they're struggling to find staff. So it's, we sometimes in law enforcement kind of think of just the deputies, whether they're patrol deputies or whether they're corrections deputies, but there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes that for this operation to run smoothly, that we're also running into hiccups there. And while we might be able to work with a deputy or two, if you don't have a nurse there or somebody serving food, we're really going to have a problem.
Frank, I want to touch a little bit about a topic that we have discussed in the past. Let's get an update on how things are moving along in getting body cameras on deputies around and across the county.
Yeah, Gary, I'm happy to report that that project has been moving along, and we've been through the evaluation phase, and we're in the bid phase now. The bids are in, and we're looking and evaluating those bids to see what's going to make the most sense for us, what's the most cost effective and provides us the best product. So very exciting time, because I think it's something that's been long overdue and been very much needed. And we're looking forward to that. And hopefully we'll be able to, in the next few months here, report some more definitive information for you. But this project should be completed or at least well into the installation period yet this year.
Product is one thing, service and also storage, probably the three key things that would need to be taken care of to get the right body camera product for Allegan County.
Correct. And like you say, the actual equipment is probably the easiest part. It's just how are we going to store that data? How are we going to manage that data? And one of the things that we've done is trying to be proactive here is we've actually hired someone to work and be our quality assurance person to review video, to redact video, to be able to make it available for the courts, the prosecutor, FOIA requests, the things that we know are going to happen that are going to be very labor intensive. So we're moving forward with that. We have that person hired and on staff now, and working with our vendors that we're looking at to help us in that evaluation phase. And it's an exciting time because, like you say, it's something that, in-car cameras and video cameras have been around for a long time, and unfortunately, we just have never been in a position to be able to budgetarily take this on. And now has become the priority, and we're moving forward. And it's something that I think is going to make us a better agency and make our community safer.
When people buy products, especially online, they look at a product, they look at the price, but they also look at reviews and see whether or not people liked it or not liked it. Does that go the same with body cameras as well? Have you had a chance to chat with some of your colleagues in other counties or in fact in other states who are trying the same products who might, hey, this product looks good, priced right, but doesn't deliver,
Yep, exactly.
Do you compare
Yeah.
notes in that regard?
Yep. We do a lot of that informal discussion that takes place with other people that are using those products just to, and nothing against the people that represent the products. I mean, they're doing the best job they can and are, I believe, accurately representing, but there's always those one-off cases here and there. And it's kind of nice to know what maybe somebody else experienced. So we do reach out to some of those agencies just to to get it from the horse's mouth, so to say.
You mentioned hope to have some more progress over the next few months. Have you sort of set a timeline saying, hey, if everything goes well, we'll have body cameras by this point, or do you want to sort of shy away from that right now?
Yeah, it's kind of hard because it is such a big project, and the implementation is going to be huge. I mean, we're a 24/7 operation, obviously, and trying to figure out how exactly we're going to get that data from that camera into the software system in the cloud. We are a very rural county, so some of the cities and areas that have high-speed internet connections and they have they could easily get that data dumped into their system. They have it easier than we do. We got areas where we don't have that kind of connectivity, so we're just trying to make sure that we don't make a mistake and head down the wrong path. We want to have something that's going to be efficient, because we don't want our deputies spending time trying to just drive here, drive there, just to transfer data. We want them to try to do this as seamlessly as possible. So we're kind of shying away from picking an exact date, but it's something that we're certainly very confident that this is going to be moving rather rapidly forward.
He is Allegan County Sheriff Frank Baker. He joins us every first Thursday of the month to talk about law enforcement in his county. Frank, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Wish you and all the deputies and the entire staff well over the next month. And if all goes well, we'll do this again next month.
Sounds good, Gary. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Frank Baker, Allegan County Sheriff on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.